that the person isn't lying, that instead it's something far more terrifying to me, which is that they can look at the data and because they so believe in their worldview that they just see what matches their worldview. They're not even trying to cram it into their worldview.
I completely agree that this is a huge, huge problem, a huge danger. Beyond that, there are a couple parts to it. One is just the spread of misinformation. So people, in information packaged in ways that looks like scientific truth or that looks like it's coming from authority. And so people, well-meaning people who are not really trying to make the world fit into their worldview are still being misled. And so good faith people are being misled, and in part by just the volume, the normalization of some of the misstatements out there and the spreading of it all. So that's one danger. But the other thing is, you're right. I mean, I very much worry that people will take facts and here are my air quotes, interpret them in a way that sort of suits the way they want the world to be. And that it's incredibly serious. And, in general, there's a phenomenon that I wouldn't put in that really serious camp, but that is happening among the younger generation that has grown up with cell phones and sort of ability to program. I want to watch this program now. I want to listen to this song. And on top of everything else, it's free. This idea that somehow we can program the world to be the way we want it to be. It doesn't work that way.
That's really interesting.
And I think that's one of the reasons why we have these epidemics of mental health issues. And I'm no mental health expert, but I do follow the statistics, and I'm very much sort of in the arena, so to speak, in academic institutions, and also looking at teenagers, high schools, et cetera. And we are really in a moment where not only do we think incorrectly, in my view, that we can make the world the way we want it to be, but when it isn't, it's creating all sorts of very real human suffering, back to your point. And I think that is really dangerous. And I remember I
need more on this. So this is really intriguing. So we can't make the world in our own image. And the inability to do that is what causes the suffering, or the delusion that you can. And so they're trying and they're not getting anywhere. Like what's the real crux
I think
of the
kind
pain?
of both, to be honest. But I had the privilege of interviewing Sir Salman Rushdie on my Ethics Incubator platform. And we talked a lot about truth. And it was sort of ironic that a fiction writer, had so many insights on truth, and in fact has written a book.
Did he have to go into hiding?
He did.
Wasn't
at
there
one
like
point
a caliphate
yes.
or something
Yeah,
against him?
yeah. There was it was with one of his earlier books.
Give people context, because I don't know a lot about his story, but the little bit I know is like, whoa.
So he is an extraordinary award-winning author, and he's won twice the Man Booker Prize, which is a very famous literary prize. He writes fiction mostly, although recently he's done a book on truth. And there was basically threats against his life at one point early in his career for one of his works, basically around a presentation, or what was interpreted as a presentation around aspects of Islam that were considered extremely disrespectful. And he was, in potential physical danger. He's an extraordinary thinker, an extraordinary writer, and he described in something that's going to sound fairly straightforward. He was at a book event for one of his books, and he said that one of the audience members was arguing with him about something, a matter of clear fact. And he finally looked at the person and said, it's not because, you want the world to be flat, that it's flat. The world doesn't need you to believe it's round for it to be round. And I think, that basically sums it up. And I think it's really, we are though at this point where many people, particularly in younger generation that have grown up with so much control, so much access, and again, free access, it's created this idea that everything should be the way they want. We're seeing a little bit of it in terms of return to work, that everybody should be able to do exactly what they want. And it is creating enormous, enormous amounts of stress.